Hi, my name's Lee Valentine and welcome to the CAD-Spec YouTube channel. We're here with Rob Lakey, he's European Director of Consultancy, and we're going to be discussing the architecture, engineering and construction industry. Let's go! Welcome Rob, welcome to the CAD-Spec YouTube channel, excited to be here.
Of course Lee,
yes,
thank you.
Definitely. And well, what are we going to start discussing today then? What's hot in the industry at the moment?
Sustainability is a big one, Lee, as you know. It's been a hot topic, it's been around for a long time now, but it's not going away, and I think the level of urgency around sustainability is only increasing. The recent hot weather is a good example of climate change that we're seeing right on our very doorstep.
Obviously, working in the industry, we've got a big responsibility to help combat this with smart cities and looking towards the future of just being more sustainable, more economical and less wasteful, really.
Yeah, you know, we've been talking about net zero and reducing carbon emissions and that during construction and during the use phase of construction for probably a decade or so. But we really need to think beyond that now. Sustainability is a much bigger thing than just reducing carbon, massively important, and let's not forget that and keep working towards that net zero. But we need to be thinking bigger, and you talked about smart cities, etc., are part of the bigger picture. And I always like to start talking about the United Nations sustainability goals. There's 17 or 19 of them, and it really is everything we need to do as a society to create a sustainable planet for the future. Now, some of that stuff is about modern slavery and all that isn't directly related to the UK, particularly, although there is a supply chain issue around modern slavery that we need to be aware of. So net carbon is that a fair workplace, and creating that. And it's the little things as well that we can do. It's not just on site where we reduce waste, where we know 20% of all materials are wasted on site. Reducing that will have a massive sustainable impact. But it's the little things around using less materials in the first place, or designing that in, and thinking further up that design chain is important. Of
course, so it's effective communication and collaboration in the industry, from that big picture all the way down to, like you say, the individual user. Every one of us can make an impact on this bigger picture and working towards a common goal, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's 2022. Technology is going to play a massive part in helping to hit those targets and reduce what we're currently doing and just making a sustainable future for all of us, really.
Absolutely, and I think we're seeing it come further up to the design chain, earlier and earlier within that decision-making process, building in sustainability into that, not waiting until you get to site.
Not an afterthought, yeah.
And trying to use more sustainable materials, which is something we've been trying to do for a long time. I remember when I was first in the industry, we were quite happy to use very unsustainable, I won't even mention the materials that we used, it makes me blush these days. But we've moved away from that, we're looking to use recyclable materials, sustainable timber where we can, even reusing concrete and things. It's common practice now. And
it is.
30 years ago when I was a young lad in the industry, that was not something we even considered in the design process. But also we're seeing more tools come into the design phase now, and I'm sure you've worked with customers that are looking to build that in earlier on.
I think the nice thing about it is, like you say, we've been talking about it for decades, but now we can actually evaluate it. Being able to have review data and actually being able to capture the amount of information that we have when we're working on site with these materials, embodied carbon, making sure you're resourcing things from the correct places, making sure we've not got a clash on site and having to redesign at that late stage. Exactly like you said, thinking about the process really early on. And we can evaluate these things now. So it's not just a case of doing a job well today, it's about evaluating how well it's been done and what can we change and enhance again and again and again. And obviously just keep building on that and making sure we do the best job that we can.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the whole industry embraces the need for it. It's just whether they've got their collective heads around how best to do it. And I do see do we share the lessons learned outside of organisations? Sustainability is it's different partnerships, and to be more open to share those efficiencies and those lessons learned. I still don't quite see that we've very good at sharing outside of businesses with another business. Actually, we've developed this best practice, or we've found this way of reducing the amount of concrete that we're pouring near.
We need to shout about
habitat.
it.
Yeah, and I'd like to see more, certainly done by the ICE and the iStructE, around sharing that information and those lessons learned. Because everybody has a lessons learned meeting at the end of a project, but keep it in-house. So it'd be nice to see that be more widely shouted about.
Well, of course, and that open source data is a big thing, especially when we're looking at evaluating what we've been doing, and things like the ACC and EC3. We can start capturing that data, evaluating that data, and making the right design decisions now. And like I said, it's not just the architecture industry; it's everyone that's involved in that, from manufacturers to actual estate owners, and looking at CAFM workflows, and being able to not only design and construct in the right way. It's about being able to actually use the building in the right way. People talk about BIM and it's this sexy 3D model and it's clash detection, but it's the life cycle of the building until it's demolished. And like you said, what we're doing with that material when that building is being demolished, what future uses can we have in the built environment, and working towards that just smarter use of open space, really.
Yeah, and it's designing with that end of life in mind more than we ever have done previously. You see the buildings being demolished everywhere, and most of it goes to scrap. Thinking about how that can be reused at the start. But I've also seen a new trend at the moment that's quite worrying, where we're talking about allowing Chinese steel back into the UK because of economic pressure, not because of the sustainability requirements. So we're going to be shipping that, and we really ought to be working towards minimising shipping things halfway around the world just because it's a bit cheaper. It's great for profit, but we shouldn't. Profit is important, but sustainability should be as equally important. We talk about triple bottom line, and this is a win-win thing now. We can't, just because of a few economic issues, and there are economic issues at the moment. Everybody's aware of that, but sustainability can't be just thrown out because we're put under a bit of financial pressure. So I think organisations are looking at ways of mitigating those pressures, but keeping the sustainability programme going. And perhaps they need to seek help outside of their organisation again. People that can come in and offer some advice around how to mitigate those financial issues without becoming unsustainable.
Yeah, and to be honest, when you're especially looking at that sort of specialist area, those niche areas, this is where the idea of communication and collaboration really come in. Being able to utilise the data from multiple teams towards one common goal, is what we said earlier, really. And just being able to share information effectively between teams. And we're not, we're talking about sharing information for sustainability goals a moment ago. Being able to pass that data along the chain and have not only the granular focus, but that big picture focus is going to be a massive help. Moving forward and utilising the most out of this. All the technology that we've got at the moment, really. Yeah,
I mean, all the technology in the BIM workflows, as you say, they weren't designed to. Well, they were designed to reduce waste in the industry, which is obviously big picture. You can say as sustainability, but BIM was never sold as a sustainability tool early on. But I think now there's a recognition that actually, with that chain of custody of the data and being more efficient with it, is allowing more sustainability to be built in. So, I think you can quite convincingly tell people that BIM is actually a sustainability tool as much as anything else. And perhaps that's not quite talked about enough yet in industry.
No, it is a framework for information and data sharing, and it's starting. Well, I wouldn't say it's starting to make an impact. It should be making an impact since 2015. But we still come across people that utilise BIM in different ways. It's all the information that's been brought out by government and different bodies. BSI. It's there are grey areas and people interpret those areas. But I personally find that exciting. What's important to you? What's important to the client? What's important to the context of the situation that we're working in? We can't write a manual for everything, and it's just about making smart choices at the right time.
Absolutely, that is the core of BIM, really, and the government's level 3 aspirations are still there. That document is several years old now.
Yeah.
But they talk in there about linking systems and data up and utilising smart cities and smart networks and smart infrastructure. So it does become an even more. It becomes more of a sustainability thing as it develops to level 3. You know, it'd be nice to see a bit more guidance come out from the government around where that's going to help us all, you know, make sure the direction of travel for the industry is correct. But I do feel in general it is. But it'd just be nice to have a little bit more structure around that. And I think that when that comes out, that'll really help people align their sustainability goals with those BIM aspirations.
Yeah, of course, and then that actually leads on quite nicely to another video that I think we're doing together, which is going to be about sort of the manufacturing in the built environment and off-site construction, and it's like you said, it's not just sustainability as in, oh, we're using this really nice sustainable cladding. It's everything that goes behind that, from waste management, site management, building management, and so on. Obviously, we're excited to hear about that next time.
We'll look forward to the next video where we'll cover that.
This is it. Thanks for joining us on the CADspec YouTube channel. I hope you found this tech talk useful. Remember to like and subscribe, and we'll see you again soon.